There we go. We're done. I couldn't find my music. I said, "How are we gonna turn this off?" And when you're posting this on Instagram and Google and Facebook Live, they become very touchy about royalties. So we got to stop that very, very soon. So just bear with me here, guys. I'm just dealing with a few little details, and we're almost there. It is all recording, and there we go. Okay.
Everybody looks so great.
Yes, everybody looks absolutely fantastic. Absolutely. Okay, so there's a little bit of a beginning here. Okay, we're all set here. Okay, perfect. And Tammy, co-hosts. Okay, beautiful. Now we can start. Okay, folks, well, welcome to the Go for Diamond call session, or I should say Go for Diamond webinar session this evening. And in fact, what we want to share with you here, the content that we want to share with you here this evening has a lot to do with the power of one more from Ed Milet. And as we are reading and adapting and learning and, doing all the different things that we're learning to do in how we build a business in this time and era, sometimes we come across some information and it really, really hit home. There's some really important content over here that I think was very, very important. I think it is actually very important that we share with all of you when we talk about the convenience versus inconvenience. A lot of these things are gonna come across as common sense, but I think it's important that we talk about this in the same time that we can give you some concrete examples that on how we behave around this particular subject, especially when it comes to success, building a network, building your business, and all the different areas that we come across. And so today we really want to focus on this particular aspect and hope that you'll enjoy this training. I also wanted to welcome everybody here on Facebook Live. Thank you for joining us. Really appreciate it. Thank you, Luz, for joining us from Puerto Rico, and all of you from Ontario and Quebec and different parts of Canada. We certainly appreciate you here. So Tammy, why don't we start with some of the topic that we're going to cover here today? Go ahead.
Absolutely. And like Chris said, it is really all common sense to all of us, and every single one of us in our lives. We've had a lot of inconvenience to build our lives, whether we were competitive in sports growing up. You had to be in inconvenience to be able to get to the levels you wanted to get in your performance, in studies, in everything that we do. Just think about growing up and all the things that we've done that made our lives inconvenient to get to where we are today. And what's really important is to stay out of the convenience portion of it. Of course, convenience is nice. Who wouldn't agree? How many of you would like to have a really convenient life, right? Not even having to worry. It would be nice to do that. And I know that for me personally, since I was 13 years old, I've always worked. I had 3 jobs. I went to school. I didn't go to university, but I went right into designing and creating, and eventually I ended up having a business. And so it was a whole life. When I think about it, as we personally read the book, as I thought about all the inconveniences that happened to bring us where we are today, I think it's important to look at that and to be able to recognize the things that you've done up to now. And to move forward to the next stage is the key, right? So what do we need to do in the next stage? That's why we wanted to talk about the difference, of convenience and inconvenience. And of course, Chris is going to share a couple of quotes that he has that he wants to share that really hit home for him. And I think sometimes we just need to get that one thing, that one sentence, that one phrase, that one quote that makes us realize that we're not taking our businesses to another level. And so I want you to pay attention to this and use these quotes too, because great for social media, but it's really to recognize where we come from, where we are right now. Are you in convenience mode, or are you in inconvenience mode, that you're driving it and driving it and driving it? So let's go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, sure. And first of all, as Tammy stated, I want to congratulate you guys. I know I stated that before the call was being recorded, but I want to make that official. I want to congratulate you for all the effort that you've done in getting into an inconvenient mode, because listen, facing the camera to do a video, to share your story, that is not easy. And I know I've been struggling. I still struggle with it from time to time. But I know for some of you, it was your first experience. And maybe you're not here today, but maybe you listen to this call a little later. Maybe you'll catch it on our podcast or whatever it is. But the fact is, I want to congratulate you for getting out of this convenient mode into inconvenient mode, to get in front of that camera and prepare yourself, do all your makeup, ladies and gentlemen, just fix yourself up and find the right words to be able to express yourself in a way you feel appropriate in sharing your message. Because that, and this is what it's all about. And folks, it's not about being inconvenient and always living in a state of pressure, in a state of inconvenience, but it's to be aware that you can't thrive in a constant convenient environment. And this is something that we want to talk about. And the reason we want to share this with you, as Tammy and I were coming back from Ottawa, we were listening to Admire It, and we said, God, we got to share this with the team. And there's a few quotes I want to share with you and expand on that. And if you feel that you want to communicate something, you want to share a message, or something is making sense to you, or you want to, you're happy to be on Facebook Live here. Thank you, guys. Venus from the Philippines, thank you for joining in. Barry, thank you. It's nice to see you again, buddy. Feel free to, give us a thumbs up, share some comments, or some feedback. Interactive is really important. And it also helps us in triggering some thoughts, and even recognizing some of the things we're covering actually makes sense to you. And it helps, keeping us in line and giving you what it is that you need to, to receive. And the one thing that I want to start with is, are you willing to get uncomfortable and do the actions that are inconvenient for a short time to create momentum in your life? Type in a 1 in the chat if you feel that is something that you're willing to do, or just do nothing if you don't feel like it. It's totally cool too, right? But put a 1 in the chat. If you happen to be here on Facebook Live, put a 1. If you're willing to be inconvenient for a certain period of time to get a really amazing lifestyle. And this is some of the things that Tammy and I had to do. And that's why it hit us so much, because there's a lot of things that we've done. And I remember years ago, Mary Paul, you remember the early days when we started with the previous company, and and we were starting to build. And I remember making these phone calls, lifting like that 1,000-pound phone, right? I remember the rotary. I had a rotary. It's funny when I hear and I see these 15-year-olds, I don't even know what it is. But you see, I remember making these phone calls, and it was very inconvenient. And sometimes, unfortunately, and I know some of you come through all of this, where you're sharing incredible, powerful knowledge, and you get these people that are very short-sighted, that can't see past the limitations, and they will turn around and says, oh, that's a scam, or I don't believe in supplements, or I don't believe in these kind of industry. I don't believe in, and at the end of the day, we got millionaires galore all over the world with this industry. We got people that came off their deathbed because of what the cell GVD has done. And again, I'm not making claims here. I'm just telling you that we've made such an impact, not in just one country, but multiple countries around the world. But still, you will come across some short-sighted folks that are going to take that dream away from many people, because they're going to get intimidated by that one person that can't see past their limitations. So this is the portion that I'm talking about. That's the inconvenience. That's the inconvenience. And to be successful in this kind of business, and to be honest with you, to be successful in any kind of business, you will come across the naysayers. You will come across the dream stealers. You will come across the people that will rip the dream out of your head so you can stay exactly where they are. And they don't mean to. That's the limitation to the extent of what they're able to see. And I think the reason why these kind of calls and these kind of trainings and these kind of books, like The Power of One More with Ed Mylett, is so important, because even though we know these things, by hearing one person, a second person, and a third person, another leader or another mentor that share, and it cross references, it builds your level of confidence. So it's very important, folks, that you understand that it doesn't matter what you do, you need to accept the fact that you need to become uncomfortable for a period of time to get into that comfort. But if you stay too long into that comfort mode, unfortunately, it has an expiry date. Like this business that we've been building for the past 15 years, we had 10 amazing growth years. And now we're in a bear market. And folks, as I stated this morning, we had a wonderful session with some of the Philippine leaders. Some of them are here today, and thank you for coming back. And the fact here is that, you know, life is cyclical. What goes up comes down. What goes up comes down. What comes down goes back up. Since the beginning of times and beginning of dawn, it's always been that way. But I know what we're caught into that roller coaster, and right now we're going down and it's rushing down, right? Well, it's not always pleasant. It's not always comfortable. But let me tell you something, and I'm telling you, mark my words. We have been in a major roller coaster, and we've passed the worst. And I really believe right now that we're in that bottom. You see, when you get into that side of the curve, this is what we call consolidation. That's when you start adjusting. Some people sign up, some people leave. Some people come in, some people leave. It is just the way things are. But what happens is that you are adjusting, you are improving, you are making changes. And then what's happening is we get into that new mode of operation, and then you're slowly curving back into a new momentum. But to get there, you have to be uncomfortable. It had to be inconvenient. And then you go back into that new convenient mode that could last for a period of time. And what I meant by mark my words, and this is recorded. That's like a timestamp. I truly believe by mid-2023, I know it may seem far, but it's not that far. By June of 2023, you're going to see a major hit on the positive side of the word that's going to go that's going to go high very, very, very quickly. Doesn't matter what we're talking about. Businesses, stock market, house booming, everything. I think by mid-2023, mark my words. So to be prepared for that wave that's coming, prepare for rain. Get uncomfortable. Go talk to people. Make these phone calls. You know, I've made some phone calls recently on every single person that we have sponsored since the beginning of dawn. And through all of that, we've reactivated some associates, and some are engaging. And who knows how this is going to go. Imagine if you are doing the same thing. Some of you might be sitting on leads that you've been procrastinating for months, maybe years. Get uncomfortable. Reach out to them. And some amazing thing could happen in a short term or maybe a bit longer term. But prepare now, because I'm telling you, by June of next year, we are going to go into a whole new momentum. Tammy, I know I took a bit of space here, but please go ahead and add if you want to share.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, this is our season to really thrive, to plant. And I know that there's going to be sessions that are going to come up. I know Erica is going to be doing next week's session talking about the planting, and getting products in people's hands, because people need our products. I had a conversation today with a girl that absolutely loves longevity. She wants to start marketing it online. She just created a page. She's in the holistic world, and people need this stuff, and it's in a demand right now. So knowing that, you want to catch the wave of everybody wanting to get their immune systems to a level that they're not, going through that exposure when the weather's getting colder now, and people are looking for this. And of course, everybody's looking to make money. So we've got both. We've got both opportunities to bring to people. And don't be afraid to talk about money. So many people are afraid to talk about money. Oh, well, what if they're not looking? Well, you'll never know if you don't talk about money, right? So find a way in conversations to talk about that. Just get out there and be your best self, and just bring the best out of you to impact people's lives, and show them that it can work for them. Even if you're not in a position where you're making money with Max, doesn't mean people are not making money with Max. Introduce people to the ones that are making money with Max, that are making a difference, that are building teams and global teams. Introduce them to them. Don't look around to see who's not making money. You got to focus on your potential and where you want to go. And this is called being inconvenient. And we keep talking about that. I don't want a life of convenience, to be honest with you. I love to make a difference every day. If I think about myself only, it's going to be convenience. But if I think about what I want to do to leave a legacy, to leave an impact, well, that it requires inconvenience. Well, convenience for people, because we're getting uncomfortable to make a difference for so many people, right? So it's just to go out there and do it. Convenience and greatness cannot coexist. We need to bring the best out of every single one of us. Just bring the best out of you and show up every single day, being your best, and sharing and making an impact. And I'm telling you, when you're passionate about this, people will be curious. When you're out there sharing the stories, I mean, the stories that are coming out here now, people are contacting Chris and I. Hey, we're seeing what's happening. You guys are making a noise right now on the global platform. Do you know that? And that's through Max and people who are just consumers, who are really excited as well. And imagine all the people on social media that are silently watching you, even the haters that are out there watching. They are watching you. Okay, so keep doing the things that are going to make an impact in people's lives. And honestly, for me, that is not really inconvenience. Even though I have to go out of my way, for me, it's about making a difference. And it feels good when you go to bed at night, knowing that you spoke to one more person or two more people today that didn't know about what we have, that has no idea what glutathione is. So
I totally
we can
agree.
do so much together. As we always talk to everybody, North America is the sleeping giant of the industry. And we just got to get out there and make a whole lot more noise everywhere. Actually, we're in 20 countries. Let's just make a whole bunch of noise. These stories are going to go far. We need to leverage these stories and just get out there. Yeah.
I totally agree, Tammy. And I put a statement here, guys. And if you agree with that, just put in a Y as you agree. See, the ultimate measure of a man or a woman is of comfort. Sorry, as you guys were responding, I lost my. Let me read this again. The ultimate measure of a man or a woman is not where he or she stands in moment of comfort and convenience, but where he or she stands at times of challenge and controversy. That when he said that, in fact, it was a little different because it was more in the masculine aspect. It was not the word women there, which I felt was inappropriate. So I think because it's men and women that are in business today. So the fact here is, so it's been a little bit changed, but it's the same message. And it really, really hit me, because that's the difference when you look at real leadership. Sometimes we look at people at their best behavior when everything goes perfectly well. And of course, it's easy to look good and easy to look nice. But when things are tough and controversial and difficult, that's when you really see true leadership shine. And Tammy said it right there, is that convenience and greatness cannot coexist. It's really important. And if you want a successful and blissful life, you need to embrace convenience as a way of life. This is something that Tammy and I have adopted, actually, not realizing we're listening to this now, but we adopted this years ago, right? Sometimes we live too much into the inconvenience stage because we're always pushing. But sometimes, we take it. But that's the thing, is when Tammy travel, I mean, it's just unbelievable. Yes, it's a max trip, but I'm telling you, it's going to be uplifting. It's going to be recharging. It's going to be absolutely amazing. And I don't know if you've ever been to the Philippines, but using some of the service of massage and everything else, it's crazy, unbelievable. So we're going to have a really, really good time, and we'll come back all refreshed. But in the same time, it gives us an opportunity to reach out to our extended family in the Philippines. And then we're going to be traveling. So the fact here, folks, is you can still be in an inconvenient stage, but actually have fun and enjoy the journey while you're actually doing this. It's not all about, bleeding and tough and suffering. That's not what we're talking about. It's to enjoy the journey. It's uncomfortable, but eventually the inconvenience and uncomfortable environment becomes normal. And that's what it states over here, is that embrace it as a way of life. And that's what we've done. Yeah, go ahead, Tammy.
Yeah, so true, because we're always growing when we go into inconvenience. And look at what you've all created, that have done the stories with your posts, with your videos. How satisfactory was it for you when you were finished? And then everybody started sharing your stories. How did that make you feel? Did that elevate your self-esteem? I'm sure every single one of you had that feeling of, wow, this is great. And it's just the beginning, because these stories are going to go everywhere. They're going to go worldwide. Everybody's going to hear your story, and your story is going to impact a decision of somebody else's contact that they're connecting with, that just happens to have a situation in their life that one of you had, that we can easily share these stories with so many people. So it's really, really exciting. And I'm really excited to see a lot of business stories that'll come out of this as well, because again, it's about building your story and building your self-confidence in the process of accomplishment. This is accomplishment for you to do this.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely,
I know that Barbara Ann, oh my gosh, Barbara Ann contacted me. I hope you don't mind me saying Barbara Ann, but she said 10 times, Tammy, 10 times. I did it 10 times, the video. I said, by the 10th time, you were awesome. This is so great.
I saw the video today.
Positive thing.
All of you have done so well.
Every time she does it, it's going to get better and easier and easier and easier and easier. So it's like social media, same thing, which we'll talk about after. It's just getting out of that comfort, which is convenience. That comfort zone kills lifestyles. Anybody who has a dream they're not going to achieve the dreams by staying in convenience or comfort. It's just not going to happen. So there's times that we need to elevate our game, like a 30-day drive, and having a goal to sign up 20 people or 10 people or 15 people, whatever it is that you want to do those personal accomplishments for yourself and set those targets for yourself. Do this with a team. Create these campaigns around your organization as you start building your teams, because that's what it's going to take to get everybody moving together in that inconvenient mode to build up everybody. And that's the goal, is to build everybody up. And when everybody's making more money, they're going to be excited.
Oh, I assure you that every one of you we'll have the chance. And first of all, I wanted to thank Bernie Diamond from and Venus, as I mentioned earlier, from the Philippines, joining us here today. Really appreciate you guys and taking the time to spend some time with us here this evening, and for you, your morning. And folks, this is really important. Temi was just talking about here, and you will find that satisfaction and self-esteem comes from accomplishing inconvenient tasks, right? So if you feel that your self-esteem is not in check, the best way to overcome that is to actually do the inconvenient things. That means make that phone call, connect to that person, send that, PM, send that message to that person that might have liked a video you did, right? And this is really, really, really important. Get uncomfortable. And as you achieve different situation or scenarios that you may come across in doing something that's uncomfortable to you, you will find that it will add on to your self-esteem. And these are all the things that builds you up, which in turn, I talk often years ago, I talk about this human credibility deposit, right? As you do these things and you have small successes, they will compound. And when they compound to a point where you can make this huge withdrawals, right? That comes across in your posture. So when you're talking to a CEO, or you're talking to, a company owner or a business owner or a money maker, you have a better posture instead of going there like a shaking leaf, right? Which often is the reason why they may not want to do business with you, not because of the opportunity or because what you're presenting, but it's because you don't portray the kind of confidence that they would expect. But by doing these uncomfortable things and not worrying about the fact that this short-sighted person turned around and told you, oh, that's a scam. Okay, thank you. Well, I'm sorry you see it that way, and move on. It's just pure ignorance. But the thing is, you don't want to crumble in front of people like that, because some of you have such a powerful voice, and it's being silenced by a short-sighted person. That's not fair. And you need to recognize that, because we need your voice, especially today. We're dealing with a lot of immune disorders for many reasons. I'm not getting into any details because I don't want to ruffle any feathers. The point here is that our message is important. Unfortunately, for the past 2.5 years, people got comfortable, and that comfort has gone into the way of the mode that they used to have prior to this situation occurred with the pandemic and for the past 2.5 years. So we got to make noise. We got to shake the world. Every time I speak to anybody who has the slightest education or understanding of the human anatomy, they're actually blown away by what these products can do. And you don't find that. It's rare that you will find that. And again, it's not to knock down network marketing companies, because every one of them have space and deserve a space to share, because it's a wonderful industry to thrive in. But think about it. It is very, very rare to find the kind of scientific validation mixed with an opportunity in the type of business model we have. You don't see that anywhere. And I'm telling you, Tammy and I, rubbing shoulders with the top income earners in this industry, we realizing, my God, there's nothing like what we have to offer. And that gives me that enormous amount of posture. Do you understand what we have? And that's the kind of strength that I project when I speak to a prospect. Sometimes I may scare someone, but that's okay. They're just not qualified to work for me. And that's how I look at it. They just don't qualify to work with me, because I tend to have a bit of a high demand, and I rank as, and that's the way I work. And that's how I qualify people I work with. That's where I'm willing to spend time with these folks, because we see eye to eye. And this is how you will do in building your business. What are your thoughts, Tammy?
Absolutely. Let's keep going. So ask yourself these questions, everybody. I want you to participate a little bit. If you want to put it out there in the chat, you want to put it out there on Facebook and leave a message there. Chris is keeping an eye out at that end. So what kind of life do you want to live? write something down right now. What kind of life do you want to live in the next 2 to 5 years? What does that look like? Start jotting down some things. You may already have that written, but I think it's important to write this down regularly. 2 or 3 key points of where you want to go. What kind of life do you want to live? And what are some of the inconvenient things that you're going to do as of tonight or this morning? I know some of you are joining us tomorrow morning. You guys are in the future. So what is it that you want to achieve? And what are you willing to get? What are you willing to do to get uncomfortable? What are you willing to do? Are you willing to do 5 or 10 extra phone calls a day? Some of you are part-time, some of you are full-time. What are you willing to do? You need to write these things down because you need to have this in front of you when you wake up in the morning, when you're working. That's going to be your motivation. It's your plan, right? If you don't have a plan to execute when you wake up in the morning, most likely you're going to wander. We all know it. Women, we're famous for that because we have so many things that we need to do with the multitasking, with the family, with different things. And so if we have something in front of us, I know for me personally, when I have something in front of me and I know I have a target to get to do that day, I'm going to get that done if it's written down. If I don't write it down, it's easy to get comfortable, to make things convenient during that day. So it's to write things down. Okay. So always write down what you want and what are you willing to do to get it. Okay.
And Tammy,
so who, yep.
oh, sorry. I wanted to rephrase that because I really want you guys to concentrate on this. This is really, 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 really important, right? So Tammy asked the question, what kind of life do you want to live? Now, you don't, like, if you want to post it, you're very welcome. You don't have to. It's entirely up to you. We want you to really start focusing on you. What kind of life do you want to live? The other question is, who are the people that you want in your life? Ask your question. Who do I want in my life? Ask that question. Who are the people that you want in your life? And the other question is, what are my standards for reaching the goals that I have? What are my standards? My standards, right? And that was time he was asking, what are you willing to do? What are your standards in reaching the goals that you want to achieve? And here's the really important question that envelopes these 3 questions. Number 1 is, will you get the answers by living a convenient life? Think about it. Will you get these answers by continuing living a convenient life? That's a big fat no. And we all know that. So the fact here is it needs to start, and it goes back what Tammy was talking about your dream board. You need to know what you want, and you need to be clear, like ultimately clear. What is it that you want? And you're willing to get uncomfortable in doing that, because it will have to be. And the fact is, we're doing this as a family. We're doing this as a team. Many of you here are participating with all of these posts and all of these, these videos that we're working together. And if you're not aware of this, if you happen to be listening in, we have a group that we call the Active Customer Experience. The Active Customer Experience. This is a group on Facebook. It's public. And if you want to be part of it, join it. And I recommend that you go through the list of all these wonderful stories that have been shared by some of the North American associates. Read their stories. They are compelling. Listen to their videos. And here's the best part. We want to hear about you. We want to hear your stories. Now, this is a customer experience. It's not the opportunity. We have another space for that, right? That's the active team experience. But I want to focus on the customer right now, because I know that this can really help you build your business. And if this is a safe place that customers can actually gather information to hear about what others are saying from Canada, from the United States, from the Philippines, from Ghana, from Nigeria, from Kenya, from Cameroon, from Cote d'Ivoire, from whatever it is on the planet. This is going to be one of the most powerful tools. But we have to get, it has to be inconvenient. You got to make that video. And Tammy and I have templates that we can share with you. You just need to replace your picture and just retype the text that is relevant to your story and your message. And then you post it in that group and everybody will see it. And then other people can share that information with other people that it may help them build the belief and the credibility of someone who says, I don't believe in these supplements. But then when you have people from all over the world sharing the same thing as, maybe I should reconsider my statement, right? And that's what happens. I'm just kidding around. But you see, this is the kind of tool that can really help you build your business. But you got to get uncomfortable first. Do it. And many of you have done that. And congratulations, and stay the course in doing this. So Tammy, I know I interrupted you here. I just want to make sure that people had the right context when we were talking about ask yourself these 3 questions. Just to rephrase, what kind of life do you want to live? Number 2 is, what are the people that you want in your life? And it might be other questions that are important to you. Please feel free to add them. You know, the other one is, what are the standards that you're willing to either break or develop to reach your goals? Are you willing to get uncomfortable? Because if you're comfortable, it'll be difficult to get there. Back to you, Tammy.
I find that my vision board, how many of you have a vision board already created? How many of you in the chat put yes, a Y for yes, if you've got a vision board already created? When you have pictures and you put dates beside them, that creates inconvenience. But at the same time, as you're looking at this life that you're creating, this dream life that you've always wanted, you'll see that the inconvenience is not so inconvenient because you have such a desire to achieve it, whatever it is. The be, do, have, the contribution, whatever it is that you have, investments. I mean, this is a big thing right now. I'm finding that, you know, I talk to a lot of people, and in conversations, a lot of people going into the baby boomer stages are starting to, you know, their parents are not doing so well, and they're starting to look at different things in a different way today than they did, knowing that one day they're going to be there, and what is that going to look like? Now that is enough to make you inconvenient in itself. So what kind of life do you want to live in the next 10, 15, 20 years? What kind of life do you want to live? Does it require an income? Does it require money? Do you have that already put aside? You know, these are all the questions we have to ask ourselves. Chris and I have like this, I think this year was our biggest year of reinventing. Anybody who's close to us know what's happening with the reinventing all the stuff that we're up to with the boards, with the website, reinventing. None of that was done in convenience. I can tell you that. Tirelessly, we were day and night, plus trying to work on talking to new people, plus working with team members, plus doing training calls, plus doing opportunity presentations. He's pulled one way, I'm pulled one way. But you know what? As I look at my vision board, we're on track, and it feels good. It feels good. Was it worth all of that inconvenience? Absolutely. Absolutely. So you have to know that the inconvenience is to make you better, is to give you a better life. There is joy in this. There's no suffering in this. Trust me, there's no suffering in this. It's impact. Yes, it's going to be a little overwhelming at the beginning, especially when you're new doing some things. Some of you are brand new on this session. Some of you have been sitting back and realizing, oh, shoot. And you're looking at, you're thinking about your 10-year mark and you're going, oh, shoot, I'm not on target. I'm telling you, get some financial advice, financial advisors, stuff like that, so you can get yourselves on track. Thinking about wills and stuff like that. When you're young, you're not thinking about that, but you never know when tomorrow is going to end. You never know when it's going to end, right? So don't think you have a long time and you can sit back in convenience to make things happen. Oh, I got plenty of time. When you think like that, you're not going to get to where you want to go. So tonight's session was really to deliver the message of how important it is to get to be inconvenient, to get uncomfortable. And that uncomfortableness over time will be so comfortable. You want to get uncomfortable again, because you want to learn something new. You want to get better at something. I know for me, I really got to get uncomfortable when it comes to social media. Anybody can relate to me? That is, I mean, I never grew up in that era. I had to recreate and do things. I'm telling you, sometimes it's like, oh, so inconvenient to add it in and add it in here and add it in there. But it's something that I need to personally work on, right? So I'm pushing myself to do that. And you know what's interesting is people are watching. They're all watching you on social media. They're wondering what you're up to, what you're doing. And the more they see you, the more excited they get. Okay, so what is it? Write it down. What is it right now that you need to work on to get out of that convenience? Write it down. Write 3 things down. What could you be better at right now? And those are the things that you need to work on. Take a course. Don't be afraid to invest in yourself. This is a business, and these are all tax deductible. So never look at the money that you're putting out in the moment. Look at it as who you're going to become in the process. That's why Chris and I never, ever had an issue with investing in ourselves.
Well, actually, let me add to this, Tammy, because actually, the reality is, yes, I did have an issue. You know, when I have to spend $20,000 for a year to get into a mastermind course, I can do a lot of stuff with that 20 grand. But at the end of the day, you know, I realize what we've been exposed to, the tools that we've been exposed to. But not only that, but also I'm realizing that it's really interesting how people think that it's greener on the other side until you stand on your own grass and you realize they have the same spot we do. You know, they all have the same things. So there's so many things that happens. But you see, and Tammy's right there, right? You got to, and I understand I'm in some of you, different income bracket, but at the end of the day, it's still a lot of money. But the thing is, we value personal growth because we know in the past when we invested in our personal growth, it has changed the outcome of our future, especially our present and our future. And in fact, what Tammy's talking about, Tammy and I decided to hire a new accountant. I mean, this guy's sharp. We're talking like everything is digital. I mean, every receipt is pictured and they take care of everything. We're a lot of our things are personal. I'm paying taxes galore. He says he was freaking out on how much taxes I'm paying. Well, it's not normal. No, you should put everything on the business side. And we understand all of that, but I didn't understand to what extent some of the things that we can do in this beautiful country. The thing is, this country will reward the educated when it comes to finances. And if you're not, you're just going to pay galore. But the point here is just as a FYI, I spoke to this accountant and he has a really good program and I want to introduce it to all of you. And the fact is, I'm not saying to hire him, but to learn from him and to get some pointers that some of you may want to reconsider some of the things you're doing. And this is some of the things we want to introduce to our family. We want to bring that to you. Okay. And I understand that there's, there might be some different situation, what's happening in the Philippines. But I know in the United States, it's Commonwealth, and Ontario, it's Commonwealth. So it's very similar, but the percentage may vary, but the logic is the same. So, we want to do things like this to help you understanding that this opportunity is a cash cow. But once you make the cash, you don't want to just keep spending your money and wasting. Tammy and I have been investing for years, but there's so many things that we can do, and we want to include you. And we'll have a smaller group of people that are earning, that want to do things, that want to get part of investment. That's what Eric is doing. We're kind of duplicating some of those things. The guy's talking about hundreds of millions of dollars of investment. In our case, we want to say, well, okay, let's talk about 10,000, 20,000, 100,000. What do we do all of that? And trust me, this is not some bogus, blind investment. These are well thought out situations that, the wealthy actually do. So, but the reality is you need to get uncomfortable to earn the income that is necessary for you to be able to redirect that and have that money working for you. And these are all the things that we are learning or adding to what we knew, is just increasing and expanding. But it's uncomfortable. You have no idea what I got to go through. And it's like we're not busy enough. Now we got to do all of this accounting stuff. And to be honest with you, for me, it's like a root canal to go through all of this stuff. But I got to get inconvenient to get to that convenient place. And the goal is, when I see how our fortress is going to be reorganized to grow and expand, it's exciting. And that's what I focus on. And getting uncomfortable is not so bad anymore. It's not so bad anymore because I see the outcome. And that's kind of the message here today. So as we end this evening, Tammy, we want you to know, folks, that we really care. And Tammy and I have a different way to communicate the message, but we both really, really care for you. And we're going to continue providing and giving you everything we have. But at the end of the day, you need to choose what you're going to do with that knowledge, with that information. So what are your last thoughts, Tammy, as we end this call?
Getting convenient is so worth it. We're going to do so many great things together. We're really excited. Chris and I have been sitting down and thinking of the next 5 years together and what we're going to accomplish. So let's run with this. Everybody needs to know about what we have. Let's work together. Do 3 ways with us. Even when we're traveling, if you can catch us, and we're awake, we're there. Like, for example, in the Philippines right now, it's morning for them. So some of you might have prospects in the evening. Chris and I don't do meetings first thing in the morning. We're going to get our workout in for sure, but we can get those 3 ways in. How exciting would that be for your prospect, that they're talking to your leader who's traveling right now in the Philippines or in Barcelona or in Paris? This is what Max provides, is an opportunity to build a global business in 20 countries. We're going in our 21st country very shortly. I know that they're supposed to be shipping some products over through a shipping company in Mexico by the end of November, and that'll be Max 1 and 357, which are products that are approved there. So lots of things are happening. I know, Lucy, very exciting, eh? And I know, Erica, you're excited about it. So who do you know? Who do you know? Who do you know? And even if you don't know people, start talking about it on your lives, on your reels. Start posting stuff and how excited you are about the future and what's going on right now and the impact and conversations that you've had. Like, I've had some good conversations today on this company and people wanting to do stuff. I'm signing up somebody the moment this session's done tonight.
Wonderful. Well, let's end on this note, everybody. Exciting. So we want to thank you for attending. And again, stay tuned. We got some great stuff to share with you. And, when it comes to financial education, this is something that's really, 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 really important. We will bring that to you. In the meantime, get uncomfortable, just develop your skills, talk to people, Don't worry about the naysayers because they're not going to pay your bills. They're not going to be there to save you. They're not going to be there to do the slightest thing to help you in any way, shape, or form. Why should you even care? As long as you're doing this in a respectful way, there is absolutely nothing to fear. Yes, there will be some people that will bite a little bit. It's just who they are. That's just who they are. Don't let that
Thank you
dictate
for
your
sharing.
voice, because
Love
your
them.
voice
Love them where they're at.
matters. Absolutely. So everybody, thank you so much. If you happen to be across the world in the Philippines, we'll see you. We're leaving in 2 days. And if you happen to be here in North America, thank you for joining in, guys. Really appreciate you. Obviously, the calls are recorded and will be posted on the activeteamtraining.com. Have a great evening, everybody. And bye for now.
Bye, guys.